This is part 1 of this episode of White Centipede Noise Podcast. To get access to the full version, you can support this show at patreon.com/whitecentipedeNoise. This is White Centipede Noise Podcast, where we give language to noise. I'm Oscar Brummel, and today my guest is Felix Erberth of EURONET, a noise project hailing from Malmö, Sweden. The project has a sparse but strong catalog of mechanical industrial noise with a unique atmosphere and aesthetic. Felix's other passions outside of noise include hacking and puppetry. His animatronic and rod puppetry work can be seen at avgrund.net. Felix joined me at WCN Studios in Potsdam for this interview, where we also recorded a live in-studio EURONET set that'll be released on WCN TV at Patreon next week. A huge thank you to all Patreon supporters who make this show possible. This episode is sponsored by Rural Isolation Project. Visit ruralisolationproject.com or ruralisolationproject.bandcamp.com to check out their catalog and currently available releases. Felix.
Can't laugh, man. I'm gonna.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Sure.
Felix.
Yes.
Welcome to White Centipede Noise Podcast.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy you came. This is very cool that you made the trip from Malmö, right?
Right. Yeah.
I did a tour with Decombination in 2016, after moving to Germany. We did a Northern European tour where we played a few dates in Sweden, Norway, etc. And we wanted a show in Stockholm. Tommy Carlson said, I can't help out because I'm not connected with putting on shows, but because we were going further north. But if you guys want to just come and hang out, basically no show happened, but he was like, well, come hang out anyway. And so we spent the night at his house and hung out and listened to noise tapes all night. And one of the things he made sure to put me onto was a tape he had just gotten from you. And that was, what is that debut tape called?
It doesn't call anything.
Self-titled,
self-titled, exactly, yeah.
And the cover was striking and weird right away, and he was like, he might have played it for me, but it was like, he's like, this is good stuff, you got to get in touch with this guy. And it was a time when the noise world was still suffering from the techno EBM plague of the 2010s, when everyone kind of jumped ship from harsh noise and kind of went into other gothy, dancey kind of areas, and there wasn't that much kind of stripped down, gritty, textural, fried noise going on. And so your tape was a real kind of, it stuck out in a big way. And so I contacted you, I think, and then bought or traded the tape shortly thereafter.
Yeah,
right?
I think so, yeah.
And then I don't know how long after, but then I offered you a tape on White Centipede Noise, right? And then we did Jabber Zeus
2017, I think.
Perhaps, yeah.
So a couple of months later, I think. A year, maybe.
Right. Tell me about when you formed the project. What was going on in your world, in Sweden, in Swedish noise? And tell me about that first tape that got to Tommy and how that came about.
Yeah, sure. Well, where to begin? Well, I guess I had to start at the beginning, I guess.
Yeah.
I got into noise on a serious note, or how to say, in my early 20s. So that would have been maybe 2012, 2013, thereabouts. And I started recording. I wanted to do this kind of music, and I had different projects.
Oh, you did? Pre-EURONET?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
There are other projects. They weren't very long-lived, or how to say. And I was kind of, you know how it is in the beginning, you try to it's often very, you imitate someone that you like or whatever.
Who were you imitating?
Well, the only thing that the project that actually had a release was called Routine, I guess, in Swedish. And it was essentially like this droney type of synth music, I guess you would call it. And the imitation was more. I did it with a friend called Josef, who did a project called Valvet, the valve, but in Swedish, and it was very similar to his kind of music. We tried to like arrange shows and stuff around 2014, 15, maybe thereabouts. Anyway. It didn't really feel like my own, or how to say, and it came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna drop this, I think, and just do it my own way with like my own name and own aesthetic, and try not to look at the existing stuff so much.
Yeah.
So that's what happened essentially. It was kind of liberating to just kind of, okay, I'm just gonna go. And I did like an edition of 25 copies.
You mean of the first EURONET tape?
Exactly. Yeah. I had met Tommy and Erik Nystrand a couple of years earlier at the run of festivals called Röset.
Yeah. Called what?
Röset.
Yeah.
I think it's like a pile of rocks.
Okay.
It's at Stenrös. I think so. I might be wrong actually, but I think that a rös is like a pile of rocks or something akin to that.
Right.
And it was this festival run. Dan Johansson, of Zero Election.
Say the American way.
You mean Dan Johansson?
Yeah, because people won't know. Because we talked about this a little bit earlier, like the Swedish language. Like, I talked to Eric or something like that, and he's like, "Yeah, Don said this," and I'm like, "Who's Don?" Like,
I've got to sing it.
Yeah.
I got to sing it, man.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry.
But anyway, I sent a copy to Tommy and Eric. Like I might as well. I didn't have very many to send this copy to, or send this tape to. So I sent it to them, and then I just kind of did nothing, I guess. I just went about my day.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that you got to hear it. I didn't know about that at all. I just sent it.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
And you were going to this Röset Fest. Were you connecting with the people there?
Yeah, exactly. That's the first one was in 2013, and it was like my first like real noise shows. And it was really good. It was like out in the forests of Småland in a barn.
Yeah.
You know, this with the big saw blades with the teeth on the walls, and like it was owned by like a crust punk gangs, a gang of crust punk dudes, and they I forget what one of the main guys, he played bass, I think, in one of these old bands. Anyway, his bass hung above the stage, but it had barbed wire instead of strings. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
And the first run, I think, let's see, Treriksröset played, Zero Election, Avo Miljö, Oku or Ochu, or however you want to call it. And I'm very likely forgetting a bunch of people. So those were like the first like real harsh noise shows that I attended.
Yeah.
And I became really like I really liked it.
I mean, those shows are those shows are legendary. I remember hearing about that festival.
Yeah.
I think even back in the States, just I don't know, maybe on message boards or whatever, but it was like Röset Fest sounded always awesome. You know, it would sound rural and also super harsh, and all the projects that I liked from
the
Sweden.
Swedish gang.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
So that's where I met these people. Eric was there. He didn't play as Capers by then, I think, but he was there as a guest naturally. So I kind of met them there, and then I came back the next year and the next, and then we didn't really like keep in touch in that sense, but I figured, I'll send the tape to these guys after having met them at this festival. Yeah, it was really good. They had this performance arts as well. At one of them that I remember very clearly was really good. It was like a performance artist that they call himself Kanonmarodören. I guess it's called the Cannon Marauder. I guess I'm not really sure if that translation really works, but anyway, there was this guy who like rolled into the area in this old car, and he had a cannon like hooked onto the car.
Yeah,
and then his performance was that there was this fridge that was lying on the grounds. So they raised this fridge, and I think he even popped one of those, the smoke things that the military uses, like the colored smoke or something. And then he had a Bible, and he ripped off pages from the Bible and loaded the cannon with it, and he just blasted at this fridge. Like that was the performance. And then he went home.
Did he know who you guys? Was he connected with the music or the art?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah. He was friends with some of the guys there. Okay. To at least.
Yeah. He didn't just randomly.
No. He was like booked. And it was. I remember we were standing like in a half circle around this thing, and it was kind of early in the morning, in the day, so everybody had like coffee, be a little bit hungover. And then when the cannon went off, everybody like spilled their coffee. And it was fun. Yeah, I had that on video. So.
It was a camping kind of situation, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I lived in a tent. I had a tent. Let's see, it was. We got there Friday. I can't remember if it was 2 nights or only one. I think it was like, we got there Friday, shows, then you slept till Saturday, shows, and then you went home on Sunday. So 2 nights, I think. I think so, at least, if I remember correctly.
I've heard other stories about those festivals just being like really, raw and authentic ways for people to connect over this music. Not in like a really wild extreme sense, but just like, come into my car, I have to show you my new tape. And then like bring a bunch of people into the car and just like blasting it, and like everyone being like, holy shit, just like this, like really,
it was really cool. It's kind of cemented, but like this is
real.
Yeah, exactly. And also it felt very, being out in the woods, it felt very like that setting is very like conducive, or how to say, to listening to this kind of music. It was very very authentic, because this is strange and very. It was very bizarre, but I became hooked, and after that I wanted to like record myself and stuff.
International Noise will be on display in Montreal 3 days in July for Initial Shock 4. On July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2026, catch Killer Bug, Kazumoto Endo, Fold, Violent Shogun, A Fail Association, Knifed Out Existence, Black Corolla, Moss Harvest, High Grove, Murmur and Jazz Hand, Hypertrophy, Nimi, DFH, Miox, Zodkar, Crucified White Savior, Dang, Rhoda, and Catholic Stare, plus a daytime noise market on July 4th. Individual tickets and discounted weekend passes are available now via screamandride.com/Initial Shock. Initial Shock is presented by Scream and Writhe, with thanks to gracious sponsors from the noise world and beyond. More Noise Please, Noise Receptor, Pension e Popolo, Pizza Bouquet, Rocker, Untitled, and White Centipede Noise. Negative Output is a 2-day noise festival taking place on July 24th and 25th, 2026 in Manchester, England. Created by 2 friends united by a deep love of noise, the festival was born from a desire to bring something truly special to the UK noise community. Across Friday and Saturday, Negative Output presents an international lineup at the iconic White Hotel, a program that serves as a mission statement for what Negative Output is now and where it's headed in the years to come. Featuring 23 sets over 2 days, with artists from 7 different countries, the festival includes many rare and special performances not to be missed, including Government Alpha, Black Leather Jesus, Werewolf Jerusalem, Parasite Nurse, Size Effects, Slit Throats, Hypertrophy, The Gloria, Svartfit, Gutter Carrion, Sword of Damocles, Knifed Out Existence, Pale World and Gviactor, Pink Thistle, Distraxy, Fisting, Lucifer Sky, Flesh Liquor, October Prowler, A Thing Woven, Creep of Paris, and Petrichor. That's July 24th and 25th in Manchester. Tickets available via Resident Advisor. Tell me about what's on that first tape, though, because we just listened to that tape.
Right? Yeah.
How was it listening to it?
It was nice of a long time ago, actually, but I like it still. I do. I haven't listened to my own stuff that much, especially not these earlier things. When I did the website thing, I listened to it, of course, to see like but I think it was Eric who I didn't have no copies myself,
right?
For some reason, but Eric helped me digitize it, so I listened to it to see how it sounded and so on. Yeah. But I like it, yeah. It's yeah.
You just played a set here, which will be out next week on White Sandy Noise TV on Patreon. But we listened to it while you were setting up, and for me, I asked if you were okay with that, and you're like, yeah, sure. If someone had asked me if we could listen to my old work right before I played a set, I would be like mortified. I mean, I don't know if I'd be mortified, but that's definitely not a neutral experience.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can get that though. I can get that. But I mean, it
actually, I mean, I also haven't listened to it in a while, and then it stared kicking ass really hard, and it was like, I bet he's getting pumped. Like I was like, I bet he's feeling himself right now. Like,
it's something like that, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that I like it after such a long time. I guess that's also why it's kind of okay. I mean, it's such a long time ago, and the project has really like evolved since then.
Yeah,
I'm much older, you know how it is, and so I wasn't mortified at all.
Yeah,
I liked it. Yeah,
cool.
It was fun hearing it.
I mean, not mortified by the quality, but just like the experience of I'm trying to get in the zone, and now I'm listening to my own stuff with someone else in the room. Like that's sort of like I shouldn't like. To me, that's a faux pas. Like I shouldn't have even asked you to do that. But it was. I'm glad you find it okay, and I thought it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah.
So what's on that first tape? Because there's this certain churning quality of your work, and loops and things like that are nothing new to noise, but there's something about these loops that feels almost like computerized or not like manual computers. I don't know what it is, and you're a very computer oriented guy, so I'm curious about if there's any sort of if I'm just imagining that. I mean, the name itself, of course, evokes that. So, I mean, it could be just the evocation from those connections. But I think I felt this before knowing much about you, that you were really, involved in let's just say IT and things like this. Tell me about what you're doing on that tape and in your just general setup.
Right. Well, the date was very, very simple. It's a 4-track, like a tape loop thing, and it's fed into this feedback loop of a bunch of pedals. Not that many even, like a home-built reverb pedal, I think, and some distortion. I can't even remember if there actually is even. I think an EQ, like a gain from an EQ. That's what it was, and then I recorded that to another tape player, which added this whole well, the recording wasn't very good, let's say, but it sounded pretty good when it turned out pretty good. It's very simple. It's just tape loops with. I even forget what the sound sources on the loops are. It's just me recording various things, I think, like a machine or the hum of the refrigerator or something like that. I can't remember really, but it's very simple. Very simple. It's I guess
nothing cyber or nothing.
No, not at all.
Really?
No, not at all. No, it's very much simply machine music.
Okay.
Like machine sounds.
Yeah.
Machines in general.
Yeah.
No computer sound source was used ever, I think.
I think of like, like the old computers that had like a hole punch.
No, right. The old the PDPs.
And I've seen people on stage with gear that's like I don't know what it is, but it has some sort of card readers with punch cards,
yeah.
and
Weird,
I sort of envision this type of machinery being utilized.
Sounds pretty cool though.
Yeah. But I mean, it definitely has this. But it has this frayed and fried texture to it, which also adds to like the atmosphere. It's crunchy, but it goes beyond the crunchy into like fizzle, and it's just like kind of this burning, I don't know, acidic kind of texture over everything.
Right. That's probably due to the tape recording, I think. Yeah. But
Okay, so that tape was very cool, and then you did the one for White Sandy Noise called Jabber Zeus.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
So tell me about Jabber Zeus. What does that mean?
You mean the title?
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's an old malware. It's an old computer virus.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, like a banking Trojan.
Mm-hmm.
Zeus was like a banking Trojan.
See, this is what I'm. See, this is now. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There is something.
Yeah,
There, that exactly.
So, yeah.
There, it is in there. That is what.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah. Well, Zeus is an old banking Trojan. Jabber is this old messaging. It's a protocol, I think, even.
Yeah.
I know it's a protocol. I forget this acronym. XMPP, I think it's called. But anyway, it was simply a banking Trojan that utilized this protocol Jabber to communicate. That's all that it is, actually. That's all that it is. It's just an example of a malware, I think.
Okay.
There's no like deeper meaning in terms of the recording.
No deeper meaning, but I mean, the reference is enough to.
Right,
So tell me what I'm looking for.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, well, it's a malware.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And any way that recording differs from the first one in terms of method or intention or approach?
Well, it's more how to say thought through.
Mm-hmm.
I had more of a plan when doing it. Like I had like, okay, I'm gonna do this and then this and then this. Like it was like, okay, I'm gonna release this tape. The first tape was like, I'm gonna okay, these recordings came out pretty good, I'm gonna do this tape. Now it's like it was kind of the reverse, like okay, I already know I'm gonna do the tape,
right?
And now
I gave you a length too, I think. Probably.
Yeah, C30, right? 50 minutes per second.
Right.
So there's that. And that kind of changed like the approach, I guess. I had to, like plan it, or you don't have to, but that's what I did.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's the same approach. It's feedback loops and tape loops, but it was more. I was more conscious of the process when doing it, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
Like I have to, like this has to be done. Like it's going to get released no matter what I do. Or that's what I thought, at least at the time.
Okay. You mentioned to me before we started that you have limits to how much you can talk about these things, but you are you have a history of interest in computers.
Yeah.
And hacking.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little about that and what that means?
I can try.
Yeah.
I guess I've been using the computer since a young age.
How young?
Maybe 4 or something like that. I remember like fiddling with the family computer. There was these simple games, and so on and so forth. There's this photo of me, I think, with this little, like a tall table and like doing stuff on the computer.
Yeah.
So it's always been, I think that's fairly common for like a kid of my age. Or like born in the 90s, like the.
If you were allowed to.
If you were, yeah, for sure, yeah. That's exactly, yeah.
If you had the access, I mean, like.
Right, that's true, yeah, for sure. But I did, and it's just always been like a natural thing, I guess, to sit around at the computer doing stuff.
When did it become, though, like something where you are looking into deconstructing and kind of going
a little deeper, you mean?
A little deeper.
Much later.
Okay.
Much later, yeah. It's hard to say, I think. But it was, I realized that I can do this thing for work.
Yeah.
That was much later, like 25, 26, 27 or thereabouts, that I realized, hey, I can do this maybe I should just do this for a living.
But what were you doing before then?
For work, you mean?
No, with computers, like.
Just using it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to tell you. I mean,
were you hacking? Were you doing?
Not to any like great degree, or I wouldn't tell you. I guess, but I mean, but that's also a thing. Like hacking is a term. Like to be a hacker. My definition of a hacker is someone who likes to learn things and like tinker with stuff. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you break into systems, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
I guess it's like an old-timey definition of a hacker. But when it comes to hacking, I'm a hardware hacker. Like I like to hack stuff, but I like to hack hardware.
Sure. And what does that mean?
You get this, you have a machine let's say like a common example is like an IP camera, and you have this little piece of circuitry, and then you probe it with an oscilloscope, and you have this maybe a microscope, and you like identify different parts, and you try to gain control over this chip. Like you want to maybe read the memory or extract firmware, or maybe you find some way to get like a console on this thing and can change the software, put your own software there. That kind of stuff I enjoy doing from time to time. Like when it comes to offensive security, that's my jam. I like to hack hardware.
Okay.
To repurpose stuff. Like you have this machine that you maybe have bought, and like the provider of the machine has maybe gone to some lengths to keep you from repurposing it.
Right.
Which means that like if you need to do something else with it, you really can't.
Yeah.
And the idea just appeals to me to be able to kind of not submit to that kind of tyranny.
Yeah.
And like, no, I want to. This is a piece of hardware. I have it here. I want to control it and do whatever the hell I want with it. So I'm gonna do it.
What are some of like the cooler things that you've done in that regard?
Oh, cooler things. It's mostly experiments.
Yeah.
Like the joy is in actually
seeing what's
succeeding.
possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The classic example is to run Doom on it. Like can it run Doom? Like you hack a thing and you've heard about this, of course. That's like you show like very interesting ways to own a device. And then you run Doom on it as a proof of concept. Like we have control over code execution. Yeah, we're running Doom. Like people run Doom on the strangest of things. That's like how you demonstrate that you have succeeded.
Wow,
you run Doom on it, which is
that's cool.
Very nerdy, but kind of charming, I think.
No, that's far out. I mean, and I even though you're saying like your methods for your noise are mostly, loops, right, pedals, analog tape, right? I still intrinsically hear this type of invasion in the sound. I've always heard that.
Right.
And so, is there anything else beyond?
Well, it's
just the idea that is actually going into the sound.
Well, the thing is machine music. Like that's.
But when you say machine music, like, are you talking? What
the music made by machines, and that sounds like machine. Whatever machine.
Yeah.
Like, something that it's just something that appeals to me with the thought of machine music.
Yeah. You mentioned kind of having rules in the past and how they've developed.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're talking about. What sort of rules or restrictions were in place to kind of ensure that comes through in the past?
In the past, I had some constraints. No contact mics, and everything live.
Okay.
Those were like my two. And I really, for a long time, I didn't realize like how this stuff was made. Like, how do they do this sound? Like, I know what I want, but out of that grows, of course, you try different things and you kind of land in your own personal sound.
Yeah.
And I've loosened that a bit. As I said, the project has evolved. I have introduced contact mics. I kind of really like how they sound nowadays.
Yeah.
There was just something about not doing anything, like not doing anything physical,
right.
Not moving.
Yeah, I understand.
The machines do all of that.
Yeah.
Just simply playing on the machines, not being very physical, but just letting the machines do what the machine does best, like just whir on.
Yeah.
And everything live, like everything has to be done live, no overdubs, no like layering. I can't. It feels a little bit silly. It got to a point where it felt very, very silly. Like, okay, if I want to do this, and I'm gonna do it live, I have to like switch this jack over here. In mid like recording, I have to remove this piece of machinery and add this one, and like just to be able to do it live. And I got to a point like, why am I doing this? I might as well just record it at least with minimal editing. I can
Right,
do
right.
it very minimal. I don't have to.
Yeah.
So the constraints have changed. They've loosened up quite a bit.
Sure.
Now I have no such like creative constraints.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, okay, I have a general idea of what I want to do, and I just don't really care how I do it anymore. Like,
Yeah. Have you ever used any hacked hardware
no.
in
No.
the sound source
No.
creation?
No,
or anything like that?
those ones are usually like you have it's hacked in the sense that you have like a terminal. You can write commands,
Right.
type commands into
Yeah,
this
yeah.
little circuit board.
Yeah.
It's mostly digital, like
Yeah.
digital signal processing. Like you have this digital chips that run like an operating system and
Right.
so on and so forth. Very little like hardware tinkering with like discrete electronics.
Mhm.
We have like components and circuit
Okay.
bending.
Yeah.
Apart from like soldering like pedal kits and whatever.
Yeah.
Like weird synthesizers maybe. Nothing that like has been repurposed.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why. I mean that should be something that, I mean, I get the appeal.
Yeah.
I really do. I've just I've always been content with like the commodity products, or how to say, like secondhand,
Yeah.
like a regular pedal. I feel no need to like modify it or hack it. There's like no, just for the sake of it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a strong relationship to technology, let's just say. When I have questions about, how could I make this more secure, private, or whatever, what are some options for this? I always ask you, and you have a lot of great answers, and it just goes right over my head, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not gonna do any of that because I don't understand it or have the
Sorry, man.
but it's like I don't have the knowledge or the patience or the whatever, the diligence to but you know about this stuff very intimately, and you keep up with it, and your daily habits seem to also kind of be very conscious of how you use technology.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I guess so. Well, I'm a privacy person, or privacy advocate, I guess you can say.
Mhm.
Which on the technological side like entails doing things a certain way to like minimize footprint and try to minimize tracking and whatnot, and so that is something that influences like the way I use it, of course.
Mhm.
How has it matured? Well, I do it professionally. I work as an analyst, like as a security analyst for a company that is an MSSP,
Mhm.
like a managed service provider. Essentially, you have customers that you provide this service to.
Yeah.
That's what I do. You analyze log data, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like being a first responder, only in cyberspace. Like
Crazy.
you have incidents and you have to handle them and so on and so forth. That's
Crazy. Is it stressful?
It can be. It can be. The workload can sometimes be large,
Yeah.
or how to say, and
Pretty high stakes.
it can be, yeah, for sure. You have to. There's like a finite room for mistakes. I guess you can say, like you can't really make a certain kind of mistake. Just can't be made. Or there will be consequences, I guess you can say.
Right.
Yeah.
How does that affect how you live your life and interface with technology? What about like use of social media, use of phones, use of the internet and computers and things like that?
Right. Well, I don't really. I don't use social media. I have a phone, a smartphone.
Yeah.
I've done what I can to like harden it. More can be done, of course, but it's not it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
But I try to minimize like footprint, I guess.
Yeah.
I use like RSS feeds to read news instead of like browsing the web. I still browse the web, but I try to minimize it, like containerized tabs in my browser too. I use like Linux, which is common in my line of work at least.
Right.
Like free software. I'm an advocate for free software and open source and all of that. But
how fucked are people who don't do that, who are very not conscious of that? I mean, how, for someone who just walks around with a iPhone, just downloading whatever app is needed for that moment, and then, logging in here, there with, facial recognition and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
In your estimation, like how?
I mean, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily fucked, but I mean, you give up a lot of stuff. You when you use social media, like you give over a certain power over you to someone else.
Yeah.
You can everybody's influenced, of course, that uses social media to some degree.
Sure.
I mean, you can be conscious of this and still be influenced, I think.
Yeah, of course.
You are being manipulated, of course, by external actors who wants to essentially make money off of you. So that's like the thing, like, it's not a personal thing. Like the thing is that privacy is a collective thing.
Right.
It's essentially meaningless for a single person to like do all of these things to stay private online. It's you can do it as a matter of principle, but it doesn't like have any real effect, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
And if like a nation state really wants to get you for some reason, there's very little you can do, even for the tech savvy,
right?
And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can do a little thing to like you can do small things to like minimize the amount of like the tracking that's being done, like the data that you supply, because these things like fuel the tech giants or whatever.
Yeah.
Which perpetuates like the surveillance capitalism machine and so on and so forth. So I guess people have to be considered like in a group. I guess like it's if everybody just stopped using a certain platform, then the provider for that platform would all of a sudden not get any more data.
Right.
But if one person stops using it, it's really doesn't really matter to them. I guess it's all automated.
Okay.
And so on.
So you're not like specifically worried about some specific threat coming for you?
No.
Because of your use of these things, it's more in principle than at this.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it's privacy's power, and if you give up your privacy, you give up a certain extent of power. Someone else has power over you.
So the name EURONET.
Yeah.
Tell me about the name.
It's actually just a name.
Okay.
It's a name. I wanted to like. I think we spoke about earlier that like I kind of wanted to do my own thing, and I deliberately chose a name that was something that was like not a single syllable. Like a lot of noise projects are not that that's bad, but I didn't really feel like was necessarily like me, or like it felt really impersonal, or how to say. So I kind of chose a name that like resonated with me personally, I guess. It's a network of ATMs.
Right.
EURONET. You can see them around like Europe.
Yeah, totally. In Berlin, there's a lot of them. And I've always seen them go, oh, EURONET. So it's
global presence.
Is it kind of a reference to that specifically?
Or
just kind of drawn from that?
Yeah, that's just simply as a word.
Yeah. Let's continue on talking about your noise work. You've been you did Jabber Zeus.
Yeah.
Each output you put out in the world will have a certain amount of feedback or reaction, or maybe like put other things in motion or any waves. Was there anything, and if we're talking about your first tape, you released that, you gave it to a few people, they liked it, they passed it on to me and some other people, and then that potentially led to the second tape. And anything you can identify or think of that happened after the second tape? In terms of connection or activity?
Not really. Well, to some extent, I guess. I was invited to see Kakerlak in Gothenburg.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
It's a very smallish, like almost a secret show.
Yeah.
And that was just after the release. And there, like I was asked to bring copies because people wanted to trade. Eric was there, and he said that he liked it, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was nice to hear, of course.
Yeah.
Always a kind, always very kind, that dude.
Yeah.
But that's essential. Oh, also, let's see. Wait, I think I was invited to play Stockholm as well after that tape. I think so. It might not be like a result of the tape, but it happened shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And it was Henderson Vårdal.
Right. Yep.
We back in 2014, 15, I can't remember which. Me and Josef, the friend, we invited the Stockholm gang to play, Henrik and with Henderson Vårdar, Martin with Broken Lights, and also Vit Fana, Ossian. I think he tagged along. He didn't play the first time. He played later, I think. Anyways, it might be that like he wanted to like return the favor.
Sure.
I think we invited Henrik twice to play, but it happened just after the release of that tape, at least.
Okay.
So I played Fylking, and it was.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah.
Together with Ma.
Ma, like MAAA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He played a great set.
Yeah, he's awesome. Is there anything from as an insider, like so close to the stone, about Swedish noise that you think is very unique about it?
I don't know.
Because sometimes,
That's
sometimes if someone asks you about your own hometown or like what's nice about this city or whatever, it's like I live here. It's hard for me to
right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So this is the end of part 1 of the interview with Felix from EURONET. But before you hop off, I want to talk to you and show you a little bit about what goes into producing an episode like this. I have this session behind here of my screen that I'm going to just kind of show a little bit. So when Felix came to the studio about a week and a half ago, we set up chairs, microphones, recorder, 2 cameras, and sat down and talked for an interview. I prepared questions the previous day. I know his work quite well, so it's fun for me, but I still do kind of sit down and just kind of, think about what I want to ask him about, where I want this interview to go, and draw an outline for what I have in mind and questions I want to ask him. I also ask Patreon supporters if they want to throw any questions out for each of my guests as well. So after the interview, we have 2 video files that are about 2 hours and 25 minutes each. That's the entire length. And the final episode that you see is probably about 1 hour and 45 minutes. And that's because a lot of whittling happens. This is very normal for podcasts, interviews. In most cases, a lot of editing has been done to keep them as snappy and coherent and concise as possible while still remaining natural and flowing. But I want everything to come across as clear as possible. I want it to be as engaging as possible. I want my guests to come off as clear as possible. I want myself to come off as clear as possible. So that means going through scanning through this episode and just cutting out little bits wherever there's an extra long pause, wherever there's a time where someone spoke, kind of repeated themselves, or stumbled over their words, or coughed. I'm coughing and sniffling quite a bit in this episode, and just snipping that little bit out. In that same process, I'm also marking B-roll. I'm marking every time someone mentions something that I think is possible to reference visually. Like, let's see here. We've got markers for Eric Nystrand, the cannon at the Rosette Fest, things like this that I want to cut away to show the imagery, to illustrate what this person's talking about. I think that's a really exciting part of being able to do a video podcast, and not all video podcasts do that. But because we're dealing with something so niche and also so visual, I think there's so much great imagery inherent to noise. I really want to throw as much of that on the screen as possible while I'm doing this. So while I'm going through and editing, I'm marking, and I end up then with a list here with about 100 points where I want to put up an image, and that comes later. So I'm going through the episode. I'm chopping things down. With a video podcast, you cannot edit dead air as liberally, because if you do, every time you edit on the same camera, there'll be a jump cut. So it'll go like that. And that doesn't feel right. That doesn't look right. And so you hide it behind camera angle switches. So I'm switching back and forth between camera angles depending who's talking, depending on the conversation. But this is also opportunity of a space where I can then hide removing some content, removing a pause or a missed sentence or something like that. I also sometimes rearrange the content of the interview a little bit. If I find in the edit while I'm listening through that we kind of came back to a topic again later that we talked about previously. I might want to put those two pieces together so that this topic is more centralized in that spot, so that's not jumping around too much. So here you can see I have some colored clips where I've labeled, I found something I wanted to move and I colored it and then found where I wanted to put it back there. So that is some rearranging of the linear time flow of the interview that I do. So that's the first pass. That first pass takes 2 to 3 days, I would say, here in the shop, of just going through listening. It depends on the length of the total conversation. It depends on a little bit the type of the conversation, the things that were talked about. But 2 or 3 days is pretty standard. There's not really much way to get around that. Then I'll go through with my markers and spend a day, half a day looking for B-roll. So every time some obscure noise project is referenced, a show, I have a little marker here for it, and then I Google image search it. I find it on, just general Google image search, Discogs, Bandcamp, Instagram, old blogs and things like that. This is one area where at times when I thought about maybe I could have an editor to help me take over this editing process and do this for me. This is something where I think there would be a major roadblock in someone else being able to do that, because I like to put as much in as possible, and so much of this information is so obscure and niche that if you don't know this world intimately, you're not going to know even when certain things are referenced, or if there's let alone where to find the images for them. So this is something I know I could do less, but I really like it, and I don't, it's time consuming, but I really like what it brings to the episode in the end. I think it makes it quite unique. So B-roll, and that goes over here in this video track. It pops up ahead of all of these. We make a little cut in the timeline and then throw something like that up there. B-roll has a secondary function that's quite useful, and it covers up an edit. So that's another thing it can be used for. If you have an edit that you want to hide that you can't switch that camera angles, or that doesn't work so well, B-roll can also be used. I think that's where it comes from in TV, is when you're watching TV, a news interview, someone talking about something, they're constantly cutting away to show what the person's talking about, or some sort of image to illustrate that. And in large part, that's because they're chopping the interview down to a few select sentences that are then a good soundbite, and they can smooth over those cuts with imagery. After that basic edit is done, I will record voiceovers. So for the intro and outro, where I write a few sentences about who this person is, why, basic introduction to what they do. I find an image that represents them. I download some of their noise, usually from Bandcamp, and use a track to, fade in the episode. I duck my audio, and then that kind of leads into the mixing process of, checking the audio, trying to get the audio as good as possible and clean as possible. EQ it a bit, compress it so it stays as stable as possible. What I'll often do before starting the episode is I'll drag the two audio files from the microphones into a program called RX, Isotope RX, which is quite cool. It's a very good audio cleaning software. And it has a function called debleed, which basically you give it two matched audio signals, audio files, and tell them which one is microphone A and which microphone is B, and it'll compare them, and it'll delete the microphone spillover from when the other person is talking. Because when I have a mic here and I'm speaking into it here, if there's someone over here talking, some of it's going to go into this microphone and then create a ugly echo. And cleaning that external voice out of the microphone as much as possible is ideal. After the audio is mixed and things like that, I do some color grading, basic color grading. I'm not good at this. I'm not a pro, but I'm shooting in log on both the cameras I have, and they're different cameras. One's an iPhone actually, and one's a nicer Sony camera that belongs to my wife, and they don't look the same naturally. So I have to kind of find the codec data that can be paste it over to make them look as close as possible. And then I do a little bit of tweaking. Again, I'm not great at it, but I just want to make it, look as non-disturbing as possible. So they start out like this, really washed out, and they end up, like this. And the main goal for me isn't necessarily to aestheticize them, but just to make the color and lighting look the same, so you don't have so it doesn't stick out to you when it switches camera angles. Also, part of the voiceover process is recording ads, which I don't do a ton of, but I do have a few ads on occasion for, underground noise endeavors, projects, labels, typically like shows and festivals. So here I have an ad for Initial Shock, a great festival in Montreal coming up in July, as well as Negative Output, which is another great festival happening in July in Manchester, England. And, here you can see I've recorded my ad here with lots of edits just to clean up my own flubbing of the reading sometimes. And then I paste them all together. And then once everything's in place and I kind of see that all the little details are right, the fades, the graphics, the little White Zombie Noise logo is in place, et cetera, intro, outro are good, then I render. And, hopefully I'm getting that done on a Friday. If people on Patreon have noticed that I've sometimes been getting the full version done by Friday, because I start in on Monday and try to get it finished by the end of the week, so that weekend I can do other things. Then Monday I can finish up the YouTube version. Sometimes it doesn't go that way. It's typically that Monday I'm finishing everything up. But the rendering happens, the uploading happens. These are also, hours long rendering and uploading and naming and titling and links and all that. So the upload is also a day's work when it's all said and done, of rendering and uploading and writing descriptions and things like that. So the reason I'm telling all this is, one, I find it interesting. I mean, I always find it interesting to see the back end of how things work like this, but it's also to help illustrate to people why I ask for Patreon support and why that's so important to this podcast existing. This is really a full-time project. It's not something that just runs in the background. It's something I'm pretty much daily working on full-time. And sometimes I'm able to do episodes or content that are a little bit less time consuming and get caught up with label work on that side, mail order and things like that. But the reality is all of this is, very, very time consuming and labor intensive. On top of that, I have a shop here, which is necessary for me to be able to host the podcast and edit it, since I don't have room at home. But this is also a major expense to keep this space up and running and just pay the rent and keep the lights on. So the entire thing is high stakes, high effort, and it's not a hobby or something I do as a cash grab or anything like that. It's something I do really, really, really seriously, and that requires full-time support from the people who watch it, who engage in it, and who enjoy it. Noise is such a niche interest and community that even though people are extremely dedicated and supportive, it's very small. There are, I don't know, several thousand, maybe 10,000 people, 20,000, I don't know, people in the world who actually listen to it and appreciate it and like it. So it's not something where this type of podcast will ever be attractive to an ad, a lucrative ad sponsorship. I mean, the ads I place are more symbolic. I mean, they're sold for a small fee to the people who want to put them there because I want them there, and it helps out a little bit, of course. But it's there's no Blue Chew going to come and give me money to help pay for my work to put their boner pills in my podcast or gambling platforms like you see on most podcasts. And I would never want to do that either. It would be, the worst thing that could happen, I think. And I feel like the community that I'm speaking to and that I care about and that I think cares about what I'm doing is the best place to receive the support for what I'm doing. So I appeal directly to you guys. That's all I appeal to. There's nothing else supporting this. There's nothing else in the background supporting this. No kind of safety net. It's, when I started out, I didn't know what I was getting into and didn't know how much work went into this or how it would be received or whatever. It's exceeded my expectations in all fields. You know, it's much more work than I ever anticipated, but it's become much more important than I ever anticipated as well, for me at least, and I think for other people. So it's the reason I push the Patreon so hard, and the reason I'm always talking to the Patreon, the reason I put content behind the paywall. It's not because I'm trying to exploit the access to this. It's just because it's needed to make this happen. You know, despite the great support I get from the many, many Patreon supporters and people who have come and gone, you know, some people hop on, some people hop off, and that's totally fine. Despite all that, it's not enough really to make it sustainable. It's a constant struggle, and frankly, I'm quite underwater on a constant basis while I'm doing this. I want to keep on with it really, really badly, and I really want to keep increasing its potency, improving its form and content, and using it as something to lift up and spread noise awareness and enthusiasm and knowledge for all people throughout this scene. So people coming into it new, people learning about noise kind of for the first time, people who are lifers who are already in it, people who are coming back to it, et cetera, et cetera. I want this podcast to be interesting and relevant for all those types of people, as well as artists, new and old. So all I'm saying is, if this is something you value, if this is something you enjoy, watch or listen to, please consider supporting it on Patreon. It's really important that you support it. Otherwise, this won't exist, and it's kind of at an impasse. I know things are really tough for a lot of people out there right now. This is the world we're living in, and people are also sick of being nickeled and dimed with subscriptions, and I totally understand that. I feel the same way. There is, however, I think, a difference between a subscription to a corporate platform that is profiting massively from your $5 or $10 a month, and a very, very independent grassroots organic platform or creator, whatever you want to call it, that is, literally every pledge, every person who joins is making a big, big difference in just being able to keep the lights on and keep this thing going. So if you've ever had thoughts or second questions about why Patreon is important to me, why it's needed, I hope this is just one example of, showing you the back end workload that goes into an episode like this on a weekly basis, on a regular basis, so you can understand why it's important, why it's needed, that your money is going to something very tangible and valuable, in my opinion. And that if you are someone who watches this show regularly and wants more from it, and to make sure it keeps going, please go to patreon.com/whitecentipedeNoise and check it out and sign up to support it. There's a lot more content and things to offer on the Patreon than what comes out on YouTube and Spotify and et cetera like that. For one, you get the full version of most of these episodes, which are typically, an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Only about which, 30 to 40 minutes usually are released to the public. And on top of that, on the alternating weeks, there is WCN TV episodes, which vary in form and content. Oftentimes, it's some live set that someone played here. Like next week, there'll be a set that EURONET played here at the shop, a video of that out on Patreon. Oftentimes, there's follow-up interviews with guests. There are solo episodes where I talk, specifically deep dive into certain things about running a label, about what's going on here, about my work. So in any case, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Visit patreon.com/whitecentipedeNoise. You can finish the episode with Felix of EURONET, and you can support this podcast. Keep it going. Keep the lights on here. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.